to anything.
That button right there is supposed to turn it on, right? The one at the base? Oh, okay, sure, gotcha.
Yeah, there's a little LED on there.
Good evening, everybody. Please, if you would, before we start, I just want everybody to know that we have programs, and hopefully everybody will take a program. And hopefully everybody will also sign in. Keating has she's right here. Keating has a sign-in form for everybody to sign in, so please do that. I want to introduce our host for the evening. This year, the Stony Brook Game Developers President, Melissa and Charlotte are going to host. Come on down.
Hello. How's everyone doing this evening? My name is Melissa Vong. I'm the current president of the Stony Brook Game Developers. I'm very excited to be here. I know last year the competition was entirely online, so it's kind of surreal, being in an actual stage and all. This is my co-host.
Hello, my name is Charlotte York. I'm the co-host. I'm a music and psych major, and I'm going to be the secretary next year for the Game Development Club, and I'm really excited to be hosting.
Yeah, I hope you all will enjoy the competition as much as we both will. I feel like today, this year's competition has a lot of great entries. So, I hope you all have a great evening and enjoy the show. Okay, why don't we get our first group to present right now? Calm the Calamities, I believe. So why don't you guys come right up?
Okay, my name is Wei Hang. This is our game called Calm the Calamities. This is a puzzle RPG game. This is the lore for the game. And then these are the controls. You could pull up the controls in the game when you pause. Okay, so the first stage is the Earth stage. This is your player. You can move by WSD, and Q and E you could rotate. So these are the rocks that you can interact with. If you press K on the large brown rock, it will move one tile. And then the medium colored one would be...
Keep it open in the same tab.
Huh? Oh.
Yeah, keep it in here. Yeah, just click it.
Okay. Alright, sorry about that. Alright, so let's restart. This is the lore. And these are the controls. In the first level. So what you have to do is clear a path from the player to the portal at the bottom right. So as you can see, you could push these with J. The bottom left shows the powers that you have unlocked. So right now you have nothing. And there you go, you reach the next level. So after the puzzle level is a boss level. The boss would attack the players every few seconds. As you can see, when it attacks, it would raise the right hand, and when the right hand is all the way up, that's when the attack will occur. So if you die, the game will just restart. So what you have to do is push these rocks into the boss to damage it. Every 2 hits, the boss will teleport to a new location indicated by the gray tiles. every few 10 seconds or so, the boss would clear the board of all the rocks they could use and spawn in some new ones. So after you get 6 hits in, the boss would die and the portal would appear at the location of the boss. So this is the win stage. There are 3 new elements introduced, which is the hole, which you would die if you step into, and the airstream, which you can block, and the tornadoes that work similarly as an airstream. It will push you 2 tiles in the direction that you are facing. So in the case where you can't get pushed, you would just not get pushed. And if you, let me show you. If you walk out of it while it was trying to push you, you would not get pushed. However, if you rotate, then it would push you. So it's the same as last game, you have to reach the portal. If you block the root of the airstream, it still reappears. So when the rocks hit the hole, they would just disappear. And then in the wind boss, there are more elements here which could obstruct you from being a boss that easy. So like here, you cannot push the rock to the left. If you press K when you have your earth powers unlocked, you could spawn a new rock, and when you push this one, it goes infinite range, and it could also damage the boss. But all of these are one use, so if you use up your own rock, you can't place another one. I will skip over this since it's the same as the Earth boss. Next is the water stage. What's new here is there are a puddle of water. So this is the deep water, which you can't walk across, but the shallow water you could walk across. However, the rocks could not go through the shallow water. It would be consumed. So what you have to do is clear another path from the player to the portal again. Okay, one thing is that if you try to walk into the deep water, you could not. But if you land on a tile that's deep water with the airstream or the tornado, you would be able to land on it and you would die instantly. So that's about it for the water stage. So for the fire stage, there is these 2 sources of fire that could kill you if you touch it. So first it spawns ember in all 4 directions, like these. It's kind of hard to tell, and they grow by time. If you touch the ember, you will not die, but if they grow into a flame and you touch it, you would be killed instantly. So what you have to do here is clear a path between the fire sources and the torches. As you can see, the torches are at the top right and the bottom left. So since this rock is not aligned with this row here, you could place another rock here, and that's how you solve these puzzles. What's new here is you have your water ability. If you interact with it with J, it will become a wave that could clear out these fire sources. If you don't press J to interact with it and you just step into it, you would gain a water shield that prevents 1 hit from the fire. And let's see. that's about it for the fire stage. So this is the experimental stage where we have everything. Since we couldn't finish the entire puzzle or the game in time, we have this stage where you could experiment with how every element interacts with each other. So yeah, that was the ice, which could be burned by the fire, and the torch is gonna be lit up right now. This is the wall, same as these. So, if you push a rock against a fire, they would become an ember again. And then they would keep on growing, but they would not disappear. And let's see. In the later stage where you unlock the firepower, you could place an ember down, and when you press J to interact, it would shoot out fire breath, which you could use it to melt ice, and it could also make the fire grow quicker. I don't know if I could show you. Yeah, but if a fire grows into an ember, it would grow a lot quicker. And this is the ice. It works kind of the same as a rock, but it could slide infinitely, just like your own. When you interact with a whirlwind, it would become an airstream that is 5 size. Once you interact with it, you can't retrieve it again. So this is also one use, same as the wave. And if the rock is gone already. And let's see. That's all I have. Thank you.
Do we have any questions from the judges? Yeah, you can stay up. Isabel, do we have any questions from the judges?
We have a question from Julie asking, how many levels in total are there? How many levels in total are there?
How many levels in total are there? Here, you can come up here.
Go ahead.
So when I originally planned this game, it was 6 tutorial levels, but that became too much, so we cut it down to 5, but we also couldn't finish 5, so it was just 4. And after the tutorial levels, it was supposed to be the god versus other humans, which is not just tutorials, it's the actual game where you could use all 6 of your powers. But right now, there's only 4, which is 4 puzzle and 4 boss. Any more questions?
Just a question for myself. What inspired you to the game?
I would say it's another game called Guardian Tales. I really like the puzzle aspect of that game, and I wanted to make something similar to it.
We also have another question from Mark asking, what are the consequences of dying in the game?
Of what?
The consequences of dying in the game.
The consequences of dying in the game.
The only consequence is restarting the level. There's no other consequences. You could restart the puzzle as many times as you want to.
Round of applause, everyone. Wow, what a great and creative puzzle game. Thank you so much, the creators of Calamity. Anyway, we're moving on to the next game now. It concerns a lot of rats, or rather a pest control problem at Stony Brook. I mean, I kind of like rats as pets, but honestly, when they start invading my personal space, kind of like, ugh, they're kind of rude.
I know, right? Rude rats are the worst. But fortunately, there's our next game. In our next game, we can actually beat these rude rats. Introducing Campus Caverns. Let's give it a round of applause, everyone.
All right, hello. Can you guys hear me? Is that loud enough? All right, great, fantastic. I think so. So yes, our game is called Campus Caverns. My name's Peter.
I'm Jeff.
And my name is Han.
All right, Jeff, you're up. Jeff.
All right, so our game is called Campus Caverns, and basically it's about what lies beneath our campus at Stony Brook University.
Go.
And yeah, so it's about exploring the underground of Stony Brook, and well, I'm sure there's a bunch of references in the game that Stony Brook students would understand. And yeah, I'm just gonna let Han start the game right now.
Okay. So.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna do the talking here, walking you through the level. So okay. So this is kind of a weird angle. All right. So we're in the game here. We're starting off in level 1. Our game's a dungeon crawler, right? I think you can see that. So all right. We're in the old CS basement. That's kind of like the theme behind this level. We have our main character here. He kind of looks like someone you might recognize. I don't know. So all right, Han, I don't know. Ooh, look, there's a rat coming after you, Han. Oh, look out, you're taking damage. Okay, kill it. All right, it's getting a little stuck.
Getting a little slow.
It's a little slow?
Yeah.
Okay, that's all right. It's all right. So we're gonna keep exploring through the level here. The goal here is to kind of explore campus caverns, basically. And there's these enemies that are crawling around in the level that you have to fight. So Han is fighting these evil rats here. Oh, and he just picked up. So the enemies in the game, they have a chance to drop these items. They can drop coins or they can drop little health packs. Have they dropped any health packs yet? I don't think. Here,
not
kill
yet.
a few more of these guys. Don't die on me, Han.
Oh, no.
Yo. He's gonna die.
You're
It's
getting
okay if you die. You're gonna restart the. Oh my god, Han, you died. All right. Restart. Okay.
Okay, this is restart.
All right. Go to the right.
Okay.
Here, you want to just run past them?
Yeah.
Here, go. All right, we're gonna skip. We're gonna try to skip some of the enemies. Han, all right, go down.
No, turn on the cheese.
All right, go. Okay. We just. All right, we skipped to the second level because Han can't play the game.
I'm sorry.
So, okay. In the game, all right, Hans made it to our store. Wolfie has a secret underground lair in the campus caverns. I don't know. Don't ask me where we got the idea. This is Wolfie's drugstore. So here, go talk to Wolfie, Han. All right, so Wolfie's selling some items. We've got the SCART shirt, the West Side Dining meat. Lord only knows what that is. We've got some moldy bread. So these different items, right? They're gonna give your player like little buffs and debuffs and stuff. The idea is you'll have to buy them to try and figure out what they are. So Han, give yourself a bunch of money. Okay, yeah, because the money drops from the enemies, but to demonstrate here, we're giving ourselves a bunch of money. So all right, Han's gonna buy some items. Just go all out. All right, maybe not that much, but okay. So now he's got a bunch of stuff in his inventory. So let's go back to the level and see how that affects the player here when the rat tries to attack him. Ooh, so all right, he's not taking as much damage, and he just destroyed that rat. So help me out, Jeff. You made the items. What does the moldy bread give? I don't know what the moldy bread does.
Yeah, so one of the strongest items we have is actually the SCART shirt, which gives you resistance and damage.
level 2.
So that's why he's taking a decimal value for damage rather than the original 1 damage, I think. And he has higher damage now, so he'll have an easier time killing the rats. And we're about to go into level 2 here, and there's a different enemy. That's a white rat, which I think is faster and does more damage than a normal rat.
I got rid of the extra damage.
Oh.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is our second level, and it's basically getting darker as you go deeper into the tunnels. And you'll see with the next few levels, the theme will change, and basically it'll affect the types of enemies that you'll see and the environments.
All right. I'm back. Okay. so we're in level 2. Keep going, Han. We want to get to
Okay.
we have some other enemies besides rats. Our other enemies are a little buggy here. Wait, you might want to kill the rats, though, before we get to that. It's okay. You got the power of the SCART shirt.
There are 5 moldy breads as well.
All right. Listen. Just, all right. All right, you're almost there. We're exploring. I think it's just past this one. Okay. All right, so we have our second enemy type, the goose. The geese from around campus. I don't know if you've ever been walking around campus and you see those dirty geese walking around doing what geese do. I don't know. Sometimes I see them and I just want to, you know what I'm talking about, okay? So, all right, hit the geese, Han. The geese are a little buggy, by the way. But, okay, you just destroyed it because you've got all the power-ups right now. So the idea is the geese at first are passive, but then they get angry and try to attack you. But Han is just destroying them right now. But you gotta watch out for the big geese. So here, let it try and attack you. Ooh, watch out. So, okay. The idea with Campus Caverns, what's nice about having sort of a mysterious theme is you can sort of, make up these fantastical sort of enemies and other things. Like the demon goose that has tentacles that come out of its mouth. So, alright. We're gonna go to your boss level now, Han. So we've cut out some of our intermediate levels to try and show off one of our mini boss levels. So, okay. We're in, this looks like Wolfie's drugstore, but Wolfie isn't here anymore, so I don't know what happened to him. This is, Han, you made this level, so I'm gonna let you do the talking. I'm gonna try and play, okay? Just to switch off. Are you okay talking?
Yeah. So when creating this level, I had the idea of, we see Wolfie throughout the levels. He's like the shopkeeper of the sorts, and he's kind of like a familiar face we see when we enter a level and get money, try to get power-ups. So I had the idea of, so as we got deeper, everything got more and more messed up and sort of eldritch, and yeah, this is like sort of the product of that. And as Peter will demonstrate,
All right,
we
yeah.
see Wolfie.
I'm gonna start the encounter here. So Wolfie right now is kind of just hanging out. He's a little passive. So, naturally, like, you see something weird in any video game, I'm gonna go up and try to hit it because that's what Ooh, something's happening. You can keep talking, Han. Because I have a hard time talking and playing. Go ahead. So I just hit Wolfie.
All right. So look, he's transforming. Oh, and look at that.
Oh, God.
It's menacing.
All right, he's trying to attack me right now.
All right,
Keep talking.
yeah.
Keep
So now this is one of the bosses we have in the game, and right now, since Peter has about 7 items and Scarred shirt, I think this will be a cakewalk for him. All right, as you see, he went vulnerable there. So in that state, Wolfie will take 10 times more damage, rather than you hitting him in any other state.
Explain how he becomes vulnerable.
And the way he becomes vulnerable is that he chases you around and
I just nuked him. Okay, yeah. So maybe, hang on. We're gonna restart the encounter without all the items because I just destroyed him. All right, level 5.
all right, the boss fight again. You go up to him, you start wailing on him. All right, you start transforming. Just wait for the transformation.
Yeah, he's gonna take a minute. I love the transformation, by the way. It's so fire.
All right.
Here we go again.
Okay.
Okay.
So he's trying to attack the player. We find that he's not in range. Wolfie tries to chase him down. If Wolfie can't find him in a certain time frame, then he becomes vulnerable and takes more damage. So he has a pretty big HP bar to begin with. So the moneymaker would be to start wailing on him when he's vulnerable.
Yeah. Am I gonna be able to kill him here like this? Maybe.
You gotta do
But
a
you
lot.
can see there's a big difference right now between when I have like all the items and when I don't. I didn't just nuke him here.
Yeah, so that would create an incentive to get items on the previous levels rather than skipping and level selecting to this level.
Yeah, you definitely want to try to buy some items before you face Wolfie. I mean, I think we tried to make it so you actually can kill him here, which I might, but I don't
It
think
takes
I
a
will.
little while.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to spend time doing that, but let me see if I can.
Let's keep yourself
I don't do much damage. I don't deal a whole lot of damage here without the vulnerability buff. So let me see if I can scoot around him. All right, he goes vulnerable. Like, did you explain that?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know how to check how much health he has. Let me see if I can. I know it's in the console on. Did I don't know. I don't want to open up the console to check how much health he has. How much time are we at? No, okay. We can stop here. I think you guys see how this works. So alright. I'm just gonna take us back to the main menu. When you kill him, nothing really happens. It should take you back to the main menu. Oop.
Give it up for Campus
Yes,
Tavern.
that's our game. Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. Alright. Do we have any questions? Guys, can you turn this off? Turn this off. Questions? I see somebody. Alright, so there's a lot of inside jokes in our game. Some of the items are themed after, like, you know, certain items you might see around campus, or certain. No, I'm not. I can't just call out like where the items are from. It's an inside joke, is what it is. That's the best I can give you. Anything else from?
We also have another question. Do any of the items affect the player's sprite?
The sprite. No, we don't have that now.
Also, we have another question. Can you weapon craft and make moldy sandwiches?
Can you weapon craft to make moldy sandwiches? That would be fire, but no, you can't do that.
And what indicators are there of Wolfie's health? Like, where are the screen?
Do we have that? We don't have indicators for Wolfie's health. Yeah.
And is there a timer, or can you just take your time with the Wolfie boss fight?
Is there? Sorry, say that again.
Is there a timer during the Wolfie boss fight?
No, there's no timer. You kill him or he kills you.
Okay. And I think that's all the questions we just had.
Okay. I see a bunch of hands raised. Go ahead, shoot. I'm sorry.
In the movie's hell, what's this animation he's doing? Because it seemed like he's trying to fire a laser beam, but doesn't. So what's his attack and what's he doing?
On your up.
My idea when designing Wolfie would be like, he's just his head and he's just floating around trying to chase the player, and he sort of just chomps down on him. Yeah, so if
I can take it back.
yeah.
Yes, I see you guys. What's up?
I was wondering, have you been more time and do you all consider like different types of attacks other than just a summon?
Wait, I'm sorry. Say that again.
If you have more time and do you consider other attacks other than just a summon, so like certain other weapons?
The one big weapon I was considering was actually like a baseball bat. There's a wiffle ball bat. Sorry, into the mic. Okay. So yes, this is kind of an inside joke, but we were considering having like a wiffle ball bat. There's a wiffle ball bat in the SBCS storage room. I was like, oh my gosh, we should totally have like the story be like, ooh, you know, I like stole this bat from like the room and I'm using it to like fight my way through the caverns. But right now it just turned into like my fists of fury instead. So go ahead. Anyone else? I'm looking around. I see it. Is that a hand raised in the back? Shoot. Not exactly, but I'd say, you know. Okay, there's truth. There's some truth buried within everything, right? Every story. So, I'll leave it at that.
That's
All right.
a round of applause, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Wow, you know, the Stony Brook pest control is looking pretty good right now. You know, it look, I don't know about you, but I think the service has been really stepping it up lately.
I don't know. I feel like they could do more with teaching the rats some manners. Well-mannered rats are the best rats, after all.
You said it. The polite rats are the best kinds of rats.
If only they could be more polite.
But anyway, I actually had a thought. I'm not really well versed in politics. It's not really a strong interest of mine.
Well, don't knock it till you try it. Our next game is Congressional Simulator, and you'll be running for Congress yourself, Mel. How do you like cold calling?
Oh my goodness, Charlotte, I have no idea what you just said, but I'm very excited.
Well, let's find out what all the hullabaloo is in Congress in the next game.
Yeah, let's give it up for Congressional Simulator.
Hello everyone, my name is Shane Wei,
My name is Jared.
and welcome to our game called Congressional Simulator. Alright, so before we start the game, just a bit of a background. The United States has three different branches: the legislative branch, the judicial branch, and the executive branch. In our game, we're going to be focusing on the legislative branch, specifically on the House. So first, we're going to choose which party we're going to belong to. We chose the Democratic Party, and after that, we're going to choose which district we want to run for. Once the game has started, we're going to move on to the best part about running as a candidate, which is making money. Alright, so first game, the fundraising game. It's going to take a bit to load up. Alright, there we go. Let me turn on the volume, give me a second. Alright, sorry about that. Okay, so Garrett is gonna start making a lot of money by clicking on the text and call button.
Sorry.
So when you click on the text and call button, you can see that your current funds will start to go up. And what happened right there was Garrett got his first upgrade, the cold caller. And once you get a cold caller, you realize that you'll start generating automatic revenue. So Garrett's gonna click on it some more. As you can see, making money is pretty hard. He's had to click a lot of times. Now Garrett unlocked the leaf letter. Once you click on upgrade, you can see some text that describes what it does. And then we're just gonna click some more. So after Garrett reaches $100, we're gonna move over to the campaign game, which is where the real action starts. Okay, so this is campaigning. In the campaigning, your goal is to just capture as many voters as you can to your side. You have a map that will aid you in capturing the voters, and each of the tiles on the map have a certain amount of voters on them that you can capture. Once you capture those voters, they can't switch sides anymore, so then you get to keep them forever. So the first thing Garrett is going to do is to click on Cold Caller, click on the tile on the map, and then send the Cold Caller to campaign. Something that will help see what is going on is to upgrade the analyst desk, which costs $100. They're going to start making more money. Very tiresome job, but this will get much easier when he hires more workers. Okay, once he unlocks the analyst desk, he will press the info button and see what exactly it's about. So here, analyst level desk, gives you the total voter count and the total voter secure count. The total voter count is the total number of voters in each of the tiles, and the total voter secure count is the number of voters that has been taken already. So if Garrett chooses a different tile, you can see the total voter count and the total voter secure count on the top right of the left panel. I mean the top left, my bad. The next goal is to reach $500 to upgrade the analyst desk even more. So while Garrett is clicking away, let me just explain a bit about this game. This game was inspired by a game called Universal Paperclips that I played in mechanics class. Some of you might recognize it. The idea of this game is that once you start buying more workers to work for you, you don't have to do the laborer's task of clicking the call button by yourself anymore. So Gary just unlocked the poster designer, which will create more posters. So the next step, we're gonna send some leaf letters to campaign. Leaf letter to campaign. So on the top right, you can see our total cash, as well as the day number. Right now we're on day 136, but once we reach day 170, the election will start, and we're gonna count up all the voters. Nothing other to do other than just start clicking again. There is one way you can speed up the process of how you capture in the campaign game, which is to play the platform game. So in the platform game, they're gonna ask you a certain sort of questions, which is basically the public judging your opinion. Since we're in the Democratic Party, Gary's gonna choose appropriately. Raise taxes on the rich. The Democratic Party is pleased with your answer. Okay, let's move on. So right now, Gary is gonna try to upgrade the analyst desk. Okay, now that we have the analyst upgraded, we now have a little bit more information of what's going on each tile. You can see how it also counts now how many voters that you've captured and the number of voters your opponent has captured. This might be a difficult task, but Garrett actually needs $5,000 in order to get a next analyst desk upgrade. So this might take a while. So while he's doing that, I'm going to talk more about the campaign game. So we thought about the campaign game it's inspired from a game called like Civilization 6. The hexagonal shape and the way the map is laid out is based on Civ 6. And a little bit more about the campaign game. Each of these tiles has like a picture on them that kind of represents the population of each tile. So the ones that has a big city on them means that there's more population on the tile, and also means that you should probably focus on them a bit more. And the color of the tiles represents the party that's currently have an overwhelming majority on the tile right now. So right now, a lot of them are red, which means the Republican Party is kind of winning right now, and that means Garrett is losing, because he's in the Democratic Party. There are upgrades in the fundraising game that can help you click and earn more money per click, as well as give each of the worker upgrades better power up. So what Garrett is trying to do right now is basically send a bunch of leaf letters. Once you send enough leaf letters, we're going to quickly take over the whole map. One way to win this game really quickly is to answer these platform questions correctly, since they give your campaign game a huge boost. Also on the top right of the screen, you can also see a label that says you and a label that says opponent. Basically what it tells us is like the general idea of how much votes you're gonna get at the very end. If we had a little bit more time, we might be able to win this, but based on the Garrett's speed right now, it doesn't seem like he's gonna catch up to his opponent on time. There is one last thing Garrett can do, which is to play the debate game. Unfortunately, the debate game only shows up when the tiles are very red, so he can't play it right now. So what Garrett is going to just try to do is just send a bunch of lead letters and try to win over all the votes. If you look on the top right, currently he has 35k votes and his opponent has 42k votes. And right now he's just trying to gain on his opponent. There it is, start the debate. Take a little bit to load. It's taking a lot longer than we thought it would. Okay, let's head back to the campaign game. Okay, so for the game game, it takes too long to load, so we're just gonna skip it right now. But Garrett is already pretty much winning over his opponent. He has a 45k and his opponent has also 45k. There is a give up button. That button does not exactly mean what you think it does. So when you click a give up button, it basically means that you're gonna speed up time so that we can see at the end what happens. So when Garrett clicked the give up button, we're gonna see the day counter go over very quickly, and we're just gonna let it play out, see what happens. Yeah, so while we let this play out, we'll just wait. Okay, we're on day 500. You can see the map is starting to now turn a lot more bluer.
Okay, I want to show the other stuff.
Okay.
Thank
All
you
right.
guys.
Thank you, guys.
Congratulations.
So all of that is based on like balancing right now. And the depending on how you play the game, basically what the opponent does is that every day they'll basically do what you do. They will send like a cold caller to each of the tiles, and if you can do it faster, then you. All right, we just won. Nice. Any other questions? Currently, there's only 2 parties.
I'll be planning on adding more.
Can you say that again? So there's a difference between choosing a party and a district. Each of the district actually has like a different amount of partisans, Republican partisans and Democratic partisans, that would definitely choose their side. So if you choose the wrong district and you're on the wrong party, you might be at a disadvantage.
All right, give it up for Congressional Simulator.
Thank you, everyone.
Well, honestly, I never thought running for Congress could look so much more fun.
What I tell you, I think you would make a great congresswoman, especially after the training you got in that game.
Well, thank you. But honestly, it looks like a whole lot of work, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's so many factors that you would never even think to consider when running for Congress. Probably really complicated, I'm sure.
Yes, so why don't we shift to something that takes us back to the good old days then? You know, the good old days of just doodling in your notebook.
Ah, yes, I love doodling, especially during class, but it helped me stay focused on class, definitely not anything else.
You know, I'm glad to have found such a kindred spirit in the art of doodling. Why don't we go to our next game now, Doodle Finn. Let's give a round of applause. Squeaky.
Alright, well, hello everyone. We're an hour into this competition, isn't that great? So, our game is called Doodle Finn. So, the origins of this game came from the idea of having a game where you can draw in the environment around you. Like, wouldn't that be cool if you're walking around? It's almost like Minecraft, you know? Make your own houses and platforms. But what would a player be doing when they're drawing on the screen? Well, it's like big brain. What if you are the drawing on the screen and you're drawing the environment around you? So that's what the game is. You're playing as a character called Doodle Finn. Doodle Finn's job is to go around the notebook and clean it up because it's a mess. There's paper ripped everywhere, a bunch of scribble monsters are destroying the pages even more, and you know, Doodle Finn is a very tidy dude. He likes to keep the notebook clean and only full of math homework, okay? So, as you can see, Kevin is walking around as Doodle Finn, drawing platforms, and I will leave it to Kevin to talk about mechanics.
Okay, so onto mechanics. Doodle Finn, like many platformers, have very similar controls. You use the WASD to move around. You use your mouse. You use the right click and the left click to erase and draw blocks on the screen. So this is your pencil. When you draw, you use up some graphite. And you can also erase parts of the page to regain graphite. Obviously, you cannot go out of bounds. In each level, there are certain tasks. Usually it's collecting scraps of paper because he's trying to tidy up the notebook. And once you collect them all, you usually complete the level. You can attack enemies, of course, using your cursor. Obviously, you cannot attack through walls. You press E to interact with certain elements within the notebook. And after you complete your objective, whatever it is, you just go to the tear in the paper to go to the next level. So I'll just show you the first tutorial level. So I'll just press E to interact with this door. I'll just adjust the volume a bit. I think that's okay. So basically you right-click to erase things in the notebook, and you use the left click to place down blocks in the notebook. And obviously you want to collect all of the pieces of paper in this level. You can see on the top right corner of the screen, you can see how much papers that we need to collect. And oh, there's our first enemy. Let's just attack it really quick. Oh, okay. Oh, I fell. Okay, let's just get back up there. Okay, so it's a very simple platformer so far. The only addition is adding new blocks. Okay, and we lost health over there. You can see in the bottom left, there's our lives counter and our health bar. I'm nearly done with this level. Okay, so I ran out of graphite, as you can see from the pencil at the top of the screen. So you can actually erase the parts of the notebook as much as you want to increase the amount of graphite you have. And that's really the end of the level. So yeah, we got a doodle. We're gonna talk about that soon. Let's just get out of here for now. Let's unlock all the levels. So one part of Doodle Finn is we want to take advantage of this unique environment, and instead of just a platformer where we just attack enemies and collect all the stuff, we want to create a variety in our game. So we're going to show that through this level. As you can see, Doodle Finn is actually going through this level, and instead of just attacking all the enemies, he actually has to traverse through this level and collect all the pieces of paper. And in order to do that, you have this single balloon, and instead of a platformer, it becomes a top-down game. And you basically have to collect all the pieces of paper, but also have your balloon, avoid your balloon to be popped by these enemies. So basically, I'm just trying to collect these. Oh, my balloon popped, and now I'm at the very beginning. Okay, I also died. Great. But yeah, so this is just more of a top-down level. The idea is we're trying to take advantage of this notebook and just try all different sorts of ideas with it instead of just one type. So yeah. Actually, let's just go back to another level that's a little bit more interesting. So not only do you have a top-down, you have a platformer, you also have certain levels where you just relax and you just play, you just draw out a picture. Like they tell you to draw this wonderful sun and an island, and you just draw it, and once you complete this objective, you can just go to the end of the level. So that's another level. And then there's one more level I would like to show, is really getting to like the puzzle aspect of Doodle Finn. So as you can see, this is a tic-tac-toe written in Finn's notebook. Yeah, I'll just get rid of some of these enemies first. Oh, I got hit. But you see, it says, Finn, it's your turn to play. And this seems pretty interesting. You might look back at this later. So, oops. Okay. Let's just block all of these enemies. And as you can see, this is the end of the game. This is the end of the level, but it's blocked by certain switches, or certain gates. And basically, this is a puzzle level where you find these pieces of art within Finn's notebook. And all you do is try to solve each of these puzzles. So this is a tic-tac-toe puzzle. Oh, I'm being bombarded with enemies. Hold on. Oh, okay, I died.
That's fun. But this is a tic-tac-toe puzzle, and in order to solve it, you just draw in the winning move. And once you draw in the winning move, you can see at the level ending that one of the gates has been unlocked. As you can see, this outermost layer has been unlocked. And basically, this level is full of these random puzzles where Finn can explore and figure out what he needs to do. So this one is just a Scantron sheet, and this is the hint art. For demonstration purposes, I am going to just show you the answer because that's quicker. Let me grab some graphite. Let me get some graphite so I can fill in this Scantron sheet. Oh, I'm barely alive. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll just. Oh no. Eric, do you want to say anything?
While Kevin's trying to complete the level, I will talk about some of the technical challenges that we had to overcome in this level. So the enemy pathfinding is using A-star, and it's very necessary because when the Doodle Finn draws, it has to also update the enemy pathfinding. In addition, the enemy also has stateful enemy AI, so each enemy has to store some timer for when it has to start charging forward. The reason why we have a variety of levels is mostly to take advantage of all the different abilities that having a character that can draw their environment. I'll turn it back to Kevin.
Okay, so I'm just finished the Scantron sheet puzzle. It's quite a lot of work, but at least we're done with it now. So as you can see, after we solved that puzzle, only one of the gates remain. So we're going to go back and explore the rest of the level. Oh, that's the last piece of paper, actually. And we can see over here what seems to be a game of hangman. And it seems like Finn's favorite words is, I don't know, actually I do know, it's botany, robot, and bottles. So I'm just gonna fill out this hangman puzzle. And as you can see, all the tiles are locked in once you solve it, so the player knows that they actually solved it instead of just flailing around for a bit. And that's the end of the puzzle level. We actually have several other puzzle levels with like these switches and stuff, but we're just showing you one for the sake of time. And as you can see, we got another doodle, and I'll send this to Anna to talk about the doodles and the story of the game.
Isn't that a funny joke? General giggles? But yeah, so the little doodles you see at the end of each level are a little treat for completing levels, because as you can see, it can be really difficult to complete each one. So the doodles are a way to hint at those who are interested in the story of the game, because you can play through this game as just, oh, I'm just a doodle in a notebook, it's a platformer game, it's a puzzle game, I'm just completing the puzzles. But if you want a good story, look at the little hints in each doodle. So if you notice in this doodle in particular, there's two different types of handwritings, hinting at the fact that there are two people writing in this notebook. So who's the second person? Who is Doodle Finn? As you go throughout the game, you will unlock more and more doodles that will hint at the end of the game. And so that's the story aspect of the game. But to build off what Eric and Kevin were both saying, we try to offer everything for any type of player in this game. So we have the platformer games, we have the game that you're floating around a balloon, the puzzle games. You just want to draw a picture of a palm tree, you can do that too. You want a good story, you want to speed run this, we have the options for everyone. And we have a lot of different levels to choose from.
So yeah, as you mentioned, we do have options for speedrunning if you're a more advanced, like if you're more accustomed to platforming games. We also keep track of your best times in each level, and also I would like to add on, once you finish a level for the first time, you get the art that you unlock right on top of each door. And that's really about it. I think I want to show you just one more thing that I think I forgot to mention. If you pause the game, there's a small mini map if you are lost in a level, since I know these levels can get pretty large. That's really about it. We have some cheats over here, I guess. And I think that's really about it. Once you finish the game and you unlock all the pieces of art, it's a secret on what will happen, but there will be something that's in this region of the screen. So I recommend you to try it yourself. We cannot finish the game right now due to time constraints. The entire game takes about 25 minutes to finish. Thank you for checking out Doodle Finn, and I hope you play it online at some point. Just one last note. The main menu is also just a place where you can just screw around and draw some random tiles and get used to the gameplay of it. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you guys so much for the very creative game. We have a few questions from judges. So our first question is from Rob Pearsall. Is everything drawn a platform? I'm not sure if any of the stuff on the page isn't a platform.
Is everything a platform? And you're not sure if some of the things are not a platform? So everything in the game is a platform. There are certain levels where it is not a platform. I can probably very quickly show you anything that has this graphite or this black, let's get through this. Anything that has this graphite color is just made of pencil. However, there are some levels where it is not editable. So we can see in this, instead of graphite, we have a pen ink. And obviously you cannot erase pen ink. So as you can see, you cannot edit it. I believe that every single spawn point in this game has some red ink in it to prevent players from, going in a death loop. But yeah, that's about it. But anything that is, black or gray, or it seems like a drawing, is editable.
Very interesting, very interesting. Our next questions come from Sean Breslin. Do the enemies keep respawning during play?
Do the enemies keep respawning during play? They do not respawn during play because through testing we felt that the difficulty of the game was too high. We felt that from testing, the biggest challenge was actually platforming, and I feel like having enemies respawn just caused too much work for the player to go through. So we want to keep the game balanced.
Alright, and our last question is, can the enemies be contained by drawing around them instead of killing them?
Yes, that is a very good point. We have seen this when people play tested our game, and you can use that. However, we also designed it such that you have a limited amount of graphite, and you have to make a balance between the amount of graphite you have and just wrapping the enemy around using your pencil. So we changed the amount of graphite you have per level based off of this to make the game more balanced, as I said earlier, because wrapping around enemy using your pencil just uses up a lot of resources, and then you have less tiles to draw later.
Okay, well, thank you guys so much for your time. Let's give it a round of applause for Well, Charlotte, that was a pretty unique concept for a game, I'd say.
Yeah, the graphite concept was really interesting to me. I loved how you could create your own platforms. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it definitely had that kind of nostalgic sort of feeling to it, right?
Yeah, I just got flashbacks, sitting in my bed, drawing in my sketchbook, ruining all the pages of my sketchbook with permanent markers because I didn't realize they were permanent, and trying to erase it, and then it wouldn't come out, and it was just kind of a vicious cycle of me not really understanding how permanent markers worked. Anyway, speaking of childhood memories, are you a fan of wacky, silly, quirky, deadly balloons by any chance, Mel?
Wow, what a colorful description. What in the world would make you ask such a question?
Oh, just the casual, normal, mundane question that I ask everyone, not related to the next game in any way whatsoever, maybe, possibly.
Wow, those balloons sound very nefarious. I wouldn't want to mess with them at all.
Well, in this game, you try to do just that. Introducing Lungo.
Let's give her a round of applause.
I think they got rid of the tab. Oh, okay. Silly me. See, how does he be loud? Okay. Okay, yeah, so it's just me. My teammates ditched me, but anyway, so this game is called Lungo. Oh shoot, that is loud. Okay. So the basic premise of the game is that it's 2D platformer. The story is that Lungo is a pacifist born into this bloody world. I know, it sounds fun. He has to survive his rival Fred's a chieftain of the village, and he's trying to conscript Lungo into his army, and you have to survive the death course. It's a lot more playful than it sounds, trust me. Alright, so anyway, let's just hop into the first level and I'll show you the main mechanics. So, in most platformers, you use the keys to move, you can jump, all that. Let's just move forward, and we see an enemy here. But you click around, press buttons, and you realize you can't attack. But that's because the main mechanic of the game is that you have a shield around you at all times. So yeah, you can reflect. The only way you can attack is by reflecting enemy attacks back at them. But not only can the shield deflect attacks, but it can also be used for platforming. So when you left click, you can do the shield trampoline. It's one of the shield moves of the game. So the abilities are called shield moves, and this trampoline just gives you a boost. It will stick in the air and give you a boost when you touch it. Similarly, when you right click, you can place a shield wall. And what the shield wall does is it essentially just acts as the shield, but it stays stationary, and you can use it as a platform. And then you can also activate the shield trampoline off of it to jump. So anyway, that first level is pretty simple. And, the second level is more of like a gauntlet of sorts. Just going through all these enemies rapid fire, really testing out your shield's capabilities. Get there. And yeah, that one was simple too. Then this is honestly where you start to get like Jump King kind of vibes, this next level. So, many more enemies. And you kind of have to start watching out where you're going now. You can't just rush through these levels. And geez, disclaimer, just because I made the game doesn't mean I'm very good at it. So, oh shoot. Yeah, be careful. So with the different enemy types, I should mention that, because I know that axe enemy could catch you off guard, and that's because compared to the catapult enemy and the bow enemy, he has a very quick rate of fire. So this catapult enemy is just kind of firing off very slowly. Oh shoot. Okay. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I have to really watch out. You notice there's an enemy up there. Yeah, so one of the main things of the game is it's just really testing your movement abilities. Shoot, there's a lot of balloons up there, so you gotta be careful. I might die in my own game. Okay, very nice. but at their levels, not even really think. Oh, there's an inch. Okay. Oh, we'll just, they disabled the ability to select any level on me. Also have to show my skills. Okay. But yeah, so I guess I should just talk about some of the inspirations of the game while I'm at it. So, well, the character design itself. So I made the character design of Lungo, and you might be able to tell, but it's based off Kirby. Just because that was one of the first characters I drew as a kid, so it was always my favorite, one of my favorites. And but I gave him a bucket over his head because, again, showing I'm not very good at this game. But yeah, just kind of like show how like innocent the character can be. Instead of like I tried to make it like the design itself, like kind of like a knight's helmet, but an actual bucket instead of a helmet. Shoot. Did they get rid of the cheat code? Okay. We're gonna beat this level. Yeah, part of again, like it's not really conductive for completing the game on the stream, but part of the design of the game was to make it rather challenging once you got past the beginning levels. And one thing we definitely wanted to include in the game was the timer to encourage like speed running. Yeah, also the enemy design, I tried to make it like, I mean personally me, when I design characters I kind of like to make them like nice and like kind of like playful. It's just wholesome even. So that's why we could just go to some of these enemies, I guess, because Lord knows I'm not gonna be able to beat the level. Yeah, I get there. Right. And even like some of these enemies are also based off of Kirby enemies. Like I know this one definitely was based on a Kirby 64 enemy. But yeah, you can kind of notice that the enemies have different not fire rates, but different like fire speeds, basically. If I could get past this level 3 as a, I think I would consider that a success for the presentation. But we're getting there though. Yeah, the game really hinges on these like two main mechanics of using the shield as a trampoline and as a platform. Alright, yeah, there we got past that part, so it should be smoother sailing from here. Oh shoot. I'm just gonna, I don't trust him. Oh. Oh, come on. Let's see. Well, I guess you could see it here with how frustrating this can be, but also we wanted to make it a game where it's like the mechanics themselves are simple, but it's a game that would become, you know, it's like easy to learn, hard to master. And this would be like the game where the levels, yeah, we finally got to level 4, where the levels, you know, it's like as you, and to have that time there to encourage the, you know, it's the kind of game where the levels don't take very long, necessarily, but but you can run through the game many times and get new like personal bests. And you can also stand on the enemies. But you have to be careful because when you stand on them, they have clear line of fire on you. Alright, so now in a bit of a precarious situation. Personally, for me, one of the most fun aspects of designing, or I worked on a lot of the creative aspects of the game, so a lot of the like the art and like old sprites. But I also, this is the first time I've ever made like music for anything, which is, I'm no musician, but it is an interesting experience and kind of fun, honestly. Yeah. And with the design of this level, it's kind of like a mix of level 2 and 3 where there's some verticality, but it's also like focusing on rushing through the enemies. So like this little part of the level seems empty, but then you have to be careful. There's a little surprise. Oh, that's it? Right. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Just it really hinges on those two basic mechanics and the personality of the different levels and enemies.
Thank you so much. Round of applause.
Thank you. There's just one question.
Right.
Can you infinite jump over the map with your shield platform?
So the answer is no. That's something it was a focus during testing, and the cooldowns are long enough where you can't infinitely jump, but when we were testing with a bunch of different people, you can get pretty close to it, where you can platform, use a trampoline, and then sometimes you can platform again, and you can get pretty high with the different shield moves, but you can't, at least as far as I know, there's no way to infinitely jump. Which is good, because that would kind of trivialize the gameplay a little bit.
Alright. So the next question is actually shared by me as well. Could you give a backstory on the name Lungo? Where did it come from, actually?
So, to be honest, when we were designing, or when we were coming up with the idea of the game, we didn't know what we wanted to name it. The name Lungo was just kind of thrown out there. And it sounded like a character name that would sound that just worked. But upon further inspection, the word lungo actually is a type of espresso that's just watered down. It's essentially a larger portion of espresso that has more water in it. And that I found out about that when I talked to my dad, and I was talking to him about the game, and he's like, oh, you named it after, you're Italian, your heritage. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I have no idea what you're on about. Yes, over there.
So the abilities you can use, are they reset a timer, or do they reset when you touch the ground?
So it's not when you touch the ground, but there is a timer. I could show you just kind of generally what it is, but so the shield wall, the one that's just the platform, the timer or the cooldown only starts when you click it again, when you want the shield back. But then eventually it's a timer, and it'll just come back. And then they're the same thing where it's pretty much the short answer is it's based on a timer.
Well, thank you so much for presenting once again.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's give a round of applause for Lungo. this game was so colorful. It's such an adorable game. You know, even if you were getting hurt by balloons.
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes you just have to take in the scenery as balloons ruthlessly attack you. Not speaking from personal experience or anything.
I'm only just a little concerned, but well, if you say so.
You'd have to be concerned because it's not personal experience. So there you go.
Well, Charlotte, since you asked me such a wonderful question in the previous game, you ever just want to play Minesweeper while blowing up robots?
I've not really thought about it before, but sure, yeah, I wouldn't mind.
Well, I'm glad you wholeheartedly agree with me.
Hey, what's this all about?
Well, you know, I have just such fond memories of playing Minesweeper, just clicking and not actually knowing what you're doing. Fond memories.
This is a segue into the next game, isn't it?
Yep, that is absolutely correct. Tune in into McBenderG versus Robots, a Minesweeper that I can actually understand this time around. Let's give her a round of applause.
All right, hello everyone. Back? Okay. That better? There we go. All right, my name's Andrew. Michael Tuyen. Our game is McBenderG vs. Robots. McBenderG is a fictional Stony Brook professor who is teaching the CSE 420 class, where essentially he's a bit of a sadistic professor where he likes to create very difficult coding projects. And essentially, he's created a game, he's created Wolfie 2D from scratch with C. And now, in the process of doing that, he forgot to give the character a null terminator and essentially compiled himself into his own game. And now he has to basically go through the game, through all 6 levels, and basically beat that to get out of the game. So essentially the concept, you can go back here. So essentially the concept of the game is, we'll go through the tutorial to kind of show all the elements of the game. The game is essentially has, like as they said before, it's kind of inspired by Minesweeper, where there's a bunch of bombs hidden somewhere throughout the level. And there's also going to be a bunch of enemies as well. The goal is for McBenderG to not step on any of the bombs, and to manipulate the robots to step on the bombs instead. There's also some blocks that he can push out of the way. So as you see here, the first tutorial is just essentially going to allow the player to get used to the mechanics of just pushing the blocks around. So you can, and as you notice, as he's walking around and as his coat color will change the closer he gets to a mine, he can press F to get through to place a flag on the bomb. This way he knows where the bomb is, but it won't deactivate it. So once he gets to the green flag, the level is completed. Now, once you actually involve enemies into the game, the goal is to essentially get them to step on the mines. The first enemy you'll have is essentially the basic robot enemy, where they will either walk in the opposite direction of you or mimic your movement. So the goal is, if you hit, essentially first he's got to find where the mine is, place it. Now, if he attacks the robot, you'll see first. You see, you can't destroy the robot that way. What this will do, however, you'll notice, is change its behavior. Now it's following his movement instead of going the opposite direction. You can do this if you want, it's up to you, it depends on how the level is set up. Obviously, this is just a tutorial, so it's kind of straightforward, but in later levels, sometimes it might be easier to have them follow your movement or go in the opposite direction. The next are these little robot mouses. Essentially, they're going to move back and forth. You're going to try. They're essentially going to move back and forth as they collide into all the walls. If you hit them, they will now change direction. They'll change the axis of movement. And you can also push them as well if you want to get them into a better position, or you can line them up and move them into the bombs. And the last type of enemy is the statue enemy. These guys are completely stationary. They do essentially sit around and shoot projectiles at you. The goal is, once again, find the bomb, And now hit him, and now the only thing you can do is push and move him. So you also get him into the bomb, level complete. So now we're actually going to show how this actually unfolds within the game itself. So this is just the lore, this is him getting launched into the game. So within each level there's going to be a randomized layout of either the bombs or the enemies, or potentially also the starting position of where you are. So as you see here, in this case, the bombs either spawn in either one of these different 4 yellow boxes. This is just the first level, so it kind of helps you helps you initially, kind of giving you hints of where the bombs could be. So, and the first levels are pretty straightforward, pretty simple. They're not really going to be too challenging. They're kind of just get you used to kind of how to kind of play the game, how to get used to everything. You'll find too a little trick. You can sometimes walk McBenergy into a wall to kind of move robots around while he stays in one place. And also you can simply attack them. Here he's going to set up a pathway to get so the mice can land on the bombs that he wants to land. So he's going to move the blocks out of the way. And this mouse actually doesn't even need to be manipulated, it's just going to go straight in. And then after this one, we're going to skip around and go to so for each level has about 4 separate rooms, and once you beat all the rooms, you've beaten that level. Kind of also with the robot mice, you want to be a little quick with them sometimes because you don't want them to unfreeze while you're holding them, so that can cause you some damage. So you can kind of skip it. You want to unlock all the levels and just go into the...
Yeah.
So we're just going to go through. So now level 2, as McBenergy is kind of going through, he's kind of realizing he only thinks he's made 2 levels. So as he's kind of playing through this game, the second level he based off of his own experiences as a Stony Brook student. And basically as you can see here, you're going to see another feature of the game as Michael plays through.
Yeah, I still have to lock myself.
Yeah, you can actually get through this one, but it's a little difficult. Oh yeah, so you see what he did, is he locked himself in. So there's a button that you can press that will reset the level. However, if you notice in the top right corner, the timer is still going. When the timer runs out, it's essentially game over. So now he's gotten through. And now he can actually progress through the level of the game. There's always going to be as many bombs as there are... Sorry, as many bombs as there are enemies, but there can be more bombs than enemies. There'll never be less bombs than enemies. So essentially, you don't want to for some levels, you don't want to simply just destroy all the enemies right away. You want to save them so you know that you have a clear path to the green flag. So you can skip. So to level 3. Good stuff. Okay. So as he's playing along, you can have to skip the lore for the next ones, but for this level, McBenergy realizes he has not created this level yet, and essentially as he's going along, he realizes that, see, this is what happens when you step on a bomb, essentially so you're like, don't hit start. Alright, so the lore as this goes on is essentially that McBenergy realizes he's playing levels that he has not created. Essentially, as he's going, he doesn't know if someone is making levels as he goes along. Is the game creating levels for him? Is Wolfie 2D is it aware? Does it know that, or is this his own mind creating the game as he goes along? So each level as the game goes on, each level kind of has different designs. Some levels are going to have more of a let's see, like this has a more open-ended design where you have more room to explore, where other levels are going to be a little more claustrophobic, kind of limit your movement and really make you pick your movements well. And as you get into the later levels, they just get kind of straight up sadistic, as we'll show you later. So you can kind of go to the 4th level now.
Okay.
So don't skip the lore here. So So as he's going along, he's kind of realizing like what is going on here. There's really is there any end to this? As he kind of he's starting to have like his little character arc here, when he's remembering that he's starting to realize that this is the game kind of making games based off his own memories and conscience, and he's starting to remember the last time he as a person was truly happy. And so this is where he starts realizing maybe he shouldn't be as sadistic of a professor as he is. By the way, this is not a reference to any professor in Stony Brook specifically. This is just how, I guess, it's just kind of the archetype of the evil professor that kind of likes to assign more work than necessary. So this is kind of also an aspect of the game. It kind of makes you want to finish the game as quickly as possible because of the timer. There is a score that is actually that you actually keep track of. So the faster you beat a level, the higher your score is, and basically you keep track. The browser will keep track of all your scores as the game goes on. So what the game kind of forces you to do makes you want to move as quickly as possible, but at the same time you also have to kind of balance the game as much as possible. So balance moving quickly, but also making sure you don't step on the mine. So you can actually go to the 5th level, and then we'll do the ending. So this is when the game kind of gets a little. Michael actually made this level himself, so I kind of want to see how he actually struggles with this one. So you can see the game actually kind of gets to a kind of whole new level of difficulty by the end, so you can show you level 6 later too. Or you want to skip through, you can skip to the next room. So you'll see. So and also as the game goes on too, the enemies also start to do more damage. So a yellow enemy will do 2 damage and a red enemy will do 3 damage. Let's just say in theory Mike's gone through the last level and he's going to beat the game now, so he's going to skip ahead and show you just the ending cutscene. So once you get through the whole game, McBenergy comes out a changed man, professor that is going to maybe assign a reasonable amount of work instead of a significant amount of work that essentially requires you to take no other classes other than his class. This is not a jab at any other professor, by the way. This is not a jab at McKenna, I should say. That's what I'm clarifying. There are other professors that are probably notorious on this campus that have this habit. So, but essentially that's the end of the game right there. And then just to show the last feature is the leaderboard here. So if in this case we didn't actually clear any levels, but if you were to clear a level, your high score gets added to the browser and is stored in local storage there. Go back, and I think we show all the cheat codes here. So
Thank you guys so much. You're on applause. I didn't think these Minesweeper gameplay could be mixed with such a top-down format, right?
Yeah, normally I'm really bad at Minesweeper, but when I was playing this game, I only wanted to do was blow up robots. It was awesome. I love when games combine genres like that. It's really creative.
You know what I just realized, Charlotte? We haven't actually seen a 3D game so far, have we?
Oh, we have a 3D game? What's it about?
I'm glad you asked, Charlotte, because, the next game is going to be a smash hit, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh my gosh, it's a 3D baseball game! Give it up for 3D baseball!
It is not 3D baseball. Oh. It's a more dangerous kind of game.
So it's 3D baseball, but with guns.
Okay, you got the guns part right. Our next game is Profiler, which you too can be a hitman.
Alright, let's check it out.
Hello, my name is Alexander Chin, and this is my game profile. I made this game with my partner, Michael Campzano. Profile is a mystery deduction game where you have to find your target and kill them using an app called Profiler. This profile allows you to scan nearby NPCs and to glean information off of them about the target. So there's 2 levels and 3 difficulties. I'll go over these difficulties as we go on. We'll start at the tutorial towers. So as you spawn in, you can see that your target is on the bottom left. We're looking for Dean Ben Gill. And what you can do is scan a person with the right click and tab to look up their profile. It tells you information like where they come from. Oh. Alright, sorry for the technical difficulties to our guests in Twitch. Anyway, I'll go back. As you can see, we have a target, which you can see on the app. It gives you a name and some characteristics. And we can scan different people to glean their profile. We see where they came from and any similarities to any people they met during the level. So we're looking for Dean Ben Gill. We can use some information like the camera to see that he's around this blue building and he was walking past the green building. So he must be somewhere here. Let's see where he is. He walked past a roadblock. And this is our target, but I'll go over some of the special features. You can open up an ad list to activate special power-ups, like the Sloth's Pet ad. If you select it, it'll see if they met the person somewhere. And if you scan the target in the green text, they'll tell you where they last saw the person. And these power-ups have a sort of time limit, so you can't just spam them, and they cost a certain amount of money. And the information for that is on the top left. We see time and money. So let's just kill him, because I'm not waiting for 30 seconds. So as you can see, they just flop to the ground. And we get a score based on how much time and how much money we have. So we can go to the next level. A much bigger map than the last one. So we're looking for Dean Ben Alex now. So let's say we need more information. How about we put up him in a game where they describe who it is. So if we go to the description game, we can see his characteristics, like what hat he has, what kind of shirt, and what color he is, and the place he was seen at. So we're looking for this person. He was last seen out of town. That just happens when it's the start of the game. Why do you look exactly like the target? Anyway. Actually, this does bring up a point. If you see a target that's similar, you can scan them and check their profile. But since they have the wrong name, it's definitely not our target. Alright. Let's look for a thing. I'm not too sure where he is right here. Actually, now that he went there, but let's say I didn't see him, so let's buy another app. Let's try the description game again. So we can see that he was last seen around the dead end, according to this person. So, dead end. This is around the dead end. This was his last known location. He probably moved around at this point, but using the information, we have, we can start our search from here. So he's walking past the seemingly big building. Probably around here, I would surmise. And if you need the ability to look a bit more into it, we have one of another app called I Need a Date app. So this basically orders any nearby NPC to become a sort of escort for your target, and they will follow that target if they can. So, yep. We can scan him, and if they can't find him, they'll say they can't find him. But, let's see, he's around the beach area, it seems. But, let's see if I can get there in time. I believe there's a target. So if you scan a guy and they can find him, they'll start following the target, as you can see here. Yep. And as before, we just have to kill them to win the game. So I'll now go over the different difficulties, because from this menu, if we click next level, it'll bring you back to the first level, but at a different difficulty. So the change in difficulty is basically how much information, initial information you have about the target. So at medium difficulty, we don't have the picture of the target or live feed, so we can't discern from his background, from the background of the video. So we have the clues like he is green, has a red hat, and a purple shirt. And this is where the information, the ads play in more of a bigger role, because we can use the, let's say, description game. It should give us the last target if we scan. He was last seen by the swing. So if we go over here, let's see if we can find someone who's green and has a red hat. Red hat. And purple shirt. He must have left the target. Let's scan someone who has a similar attribute. Let's see, purple shirt. Up was the green. Have you seen him? Someone was the same color, near the same swing. Let's see, have you seen him? Must have left. Let's see if we have better information if we do this again. Alright, they were last seen at the gazebo. Alright. Let's see if we can find information. Well, he has a purple shirt. Let's see if he's seen anybody similar. Okay, they see them now. So we're looking for a green. This may take a while, unfortunately. Green color, purple shirt. Let's try a different app, see if that helps. Alright. So with the first app, we'll see how recently they saw them, or if they have not seen them at all. Alright. Looking for someone who's green, purple shirt. Ah, there you are. It took you a while to find you, but sadly your time's up.
Give it up for Profiler. Yeah, this is a very interesting very interesting questions. First up on the chopping block, what happens if you kill the wrong person?
Well, we can demonstrate that now. Since this is basically a detection game, getting the wrong answer is clearly bad, and you can't just keep killing everybody until you find them. So if you kill the wrong person, it just says your mission has failed, and you have the ability to retry or go back to the menu.
Our next question is the amount of people random or does it increase with difficulty?
So there's a set number of people that spawn for each level. They don't really have, the NPCs don't really have a place to exit, so the set number is always the same.
And last but not least, there are a lot of people and few identifying features. How do you prevent having multiple duplicate targets without the camera?
So you will always have a name, and these names are always a combination between 3 letters. So plus that with 3 different sort of set colors, it'll be very unlikely for an NPC to have the same color and same name. And if in bizarre reason somehow there was another person with the exact same combination, they will also have to have the same location for you to mistake into. And these NPCs move randomly.
Okay, that's all the questions for this game. Thank you so much for presenting. Let's give it a round of applause for Profiler. Okay. You know, that game looked like quite a dangerous job, wouldn't you say, Charlotte?
I definitely wouldn't want to be playing that baseball game.
It's not... Okay.
Let's go to the next game.
Okay, well, not to interject my own personal life, but I'm actually going to be leaving Stony Brook real soon. It kind of feels like I'm going on my own quest of sorts.
Well, like all the people in the next game's kingdom, we'll miss you. But we're wishing you well in your future endeavors.
Yeah, thank you so much. Speaking of quests, our next entry, Shattered Sword, actually features a prince on a quest of his own. Let's give it up for Shattered Sword.
Hi everyone, I'm Xin Shi, and this is our game, Shattered Sword. And this game is a roguelike platformer game, so the whole game is based on the randomization. And you can see you can either enter a seed or leave it blank to randomly generate a seed to start the game. And of course, if you have the same seed, you will have exactly same map. By the way, the whole map is generated by the random map generator. So if you start the game with different seed, obviously you will have different game experience every time. So here, our game is like a simple JRPG. The backstory is like a simple JRPG story. So the main character here is Hero. His country is broken by a monster, so he's gonna collect 6 pieces of the sword and try to defeat the final monster to save his country. Yeah, and for control, for convenience, we have the WSD or or the arrow keys for different people that they prefer either WSD or arrow keys to control their game. And yeah. And there are different enemies in different levels. Like for this level, there are slimes and snakes, and yeah, you can see the snake can like try to bite you, and if they bite you, you can see here they apply some dot damage, like the poison. The snake can apply poison on the player. And you can see when you level up, like you collect you kill enemy and you get some experience, and you level up, you can get some like weaker buffs. So let's say here I got a lot of damage, so maybe I can increase my health a little bit to survive. And oops, yeah. And let's go through the game, and you see it's oops. You can see it's a little bit too hard for players, so maybe we can add some tutorials. So the tutorial is up, down, down, left, right, BA, BA. Yeah, I hope so. Yeah. Oops. Yeah, alright. Let's go through this level. Yeah, the random map generation algorithm is very flexible. You can see for this specific level, it's going from left to right, and if you go to another level, you can see some very different structure. Like we can have the more 3D like levels, and we can have it up to down to up. Here you reach the end of the level and you collect another sword piece. And yeah, you can have some stronger buffs like gain shields and increase a lot of attacks and decrease the damage that you take and etc. We have a lot of different builds, so based on the randomization, you can play this game a lot of times and get different experience each time you play it. So right now maybe we can choose the attack, and let me enable the cheat codes. So these levels are tighter than slime. And by the way, for the story mode that I just showed, it's load and unload the assets in dynamically. So theoretically, you can have a very long story. You can show a very long story based on that. Yeah, and we have the exit. Yeah, and here, yeah, and we got some different buffs. Like we can let the player to apply, also let the player apply the dot damage to the enemies. And this level are bulls that run through you and try to hit you and give you some dot damage. Oh, I'm in dot mode, so yeah, I'm not gonna take any damage, but and you can see for this level, you can not only have left to right, you can have some dungeons underneath to generate by our random map generator. And it's a little bit slow. Let me add some other, like set speed to say 300. And here another story and another buff. Maybe we can gain lifesteal to heal it a little bit. And this level, there's slimes and archers. Archers gonna shoot arrows to you, so you're trying to avoid it. And this level is on snow, so the player will get sleepy on this level. As you can see, it's a little bit hard to control the player. So you need to jump and dash at the correct time to avoid these. Alright, we entered the exit. Let me select a different buff. Alright. And again, this level is a market, and this enemy here is gonna teleport to the back of player and trying to attack the player. And as you can see, this level is completed from down to up. So it's very different than the other levels. And now we have the final boss. This is the final boss. Our game is very inspired by the ancient Chinese culture. So this one is the dragon in China, and yeah, actually it's Jiao. It's kind of like dragon things, but and this enemy have all the attacks. All the attack that we had for the enemies that we had before, like the like this beam is kind of like the arrow from the archer. That one is the teleport from the assassin, and the one before that is jump is from the tiger. And as you can see, we killed the final boss and we finished the game. And in 6 minutes, exactly 6 minutes. Right?
Give it up for Shattered Sword!
Thank you so much for presenting. We got one question pertaining to the level generation. Did you create set pieces and combine them, or is every tile generated individually? How do you ensure the level is completable?
Actually, we have some like map and room templates, so we have designed different rooms for different levels, and then based on the input we can arrange those rooms in some in different position. Like we can put a star room in somewhere, and based on input we can grow it into a certain position. Like for the like for the forest one, we just set it to grow only from left to right. Then we can have this like all left to right platform, and for and for the market that I just shown is like totally from down to up. So you can you can draw your room differently based on the input, and there's some interesting thing like for the gravel. For this one, it not only draw from left to right, but it also made some dungeons underneath the left to right part. So yeah, by using this random map generator, you can generate many different kinds of maps.
Give it up again for Shattered Sword.
You know, what a fun little adventure. I'm glad the prince was able to defeat the dragon in time.
Maybe in your version. I died so fast to the snakes that fell from the sky in the first level. I guess someone else has to save my kingdom. I hate snakes.
Hey, what do you have against snakes?
I don't like when they fall on me and cause me to die. Anyway, completely unrelated. What's your take on fighting games? You know, like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat.
Well, I'd say they're good for relieving stress, or making the stress worse.
Are you more of a button masher, or do you think about your moves more? What's the best way to relieve stress for you?
Oh, I'm absolutely a button masher, 100%. And, well, the next game was no different for me.
Well, let's duke it out in the next game, Spar.
Mm-hmm. Let's give it up for Spar.
You go ahead, do that. Okay.
Hello. So our game is SPAR, which stands for Scissors, Papers, and Rock. And as you might imagine, it's a fighting game based on the concept of rock, paper, scissors. So we have 3 characters in this game, and each of them do slightly different things. They're fundamentally fairly similar, but they each have different special moves. Okay, so we'll look at the controls first. Alright, so as you can see, we have the game. You can actually play with 2 players on the same keyboard. We have it set up so you don't even need a numpad, because a lot of laptop keyboards don't have numpads. And so there is local multiplayer. And so we can go into that mode first and just showcase how the game works and how the characters work. So just go to the first level. Alright, so here we're on our level. We have our 2 characters standing here. And so first let's just show that each character has 6 attacks. The first 3 basic attacks on every character is the same. So first give you a normal attack first on both of the characters.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, let me grab. Okay.
So do the basic attack. And you see when you do the basic attack, up by the health bar, a scissors appears. That's because the basic attack is a scissors type move. Now if you move over to the grab next, so and then a paper appears. So that's a paper type move, and then if you move on to the block is a rock type. So you might imagine that the moves interact with each other, the types of moves interact with each other, similar to how rock, paper, scissors works. So if one character uses a scissors type move and the other character uses a paper type move, so if a character attacks the other character while that other character is blocking, then the character that's doing the attack will win. Their hit will go through and the grab will get cancelled.
Okay. Just play. Okay. Try AI. You have no idea what that's the case.
And then we can showcase the character's special moves as well. So first, every character has a projectile. It's all a different type. So for the fighter character, the basic character, his projectile is a scissors type. So if you use a block against it, if you use a rock type move, then the projectile will be destroyed. And the next move is a rock type uppercut. and because it's a rock type, it'll beat out any normal other attack basically. And then his final move is a kick, and that's scissors type. And so you can see here we're playing against an AI. So how the AI works in this game is has different priority levels assigned to each of its moves, and it chooses them at random, but because they have different priorities, it tends to do different things more often. And it also tends to approach the player once it's out of a range. Alright, so here we're on to the next level, and from this level onwards, there's going to start to be stage hazards. So actually all the coconuts you see in the trees can fall down and hit you. And you can use this to play strategically around them and try to force your opponent to be under the trees while you're safe. So we each assigned one character. So the character in that stage, the water character, is a...
Okay, let me actually... Go.
Do you want me to control you?
I think this. Hold on.
So, okay. So this character is a dwarf miner character. So, because they're a miner, their whole kit is based around rock moves. So their projectile is a rock move, and they have this rock wall move as well, and then a scissors type pickaxe move. And so, yeah, that's what differentiates them from the other characters. On this stage, this is where you can start to see different elevations in the collision on the ground, as well as there's more hazards on this stage too. There's falling boulders. And as you might expect, the falling boulders are actually, the falling boulders are actually rock type attacks, so you can destroy them by using a paper type attack, because paper beats rock. You can move on to the next level. Alright. So this level is the city level. So here we're going against the fighter again. And what's special about this level is occasionally cars are going to come by, and they're going to come from the right of the screen and hit whoever they come in contact with. Alright, you want me to get on the plate?
Oh yeah, sure.
Alright.
So this level is on the sea level. Basically I designed this. It's pretty much similar to other levels we have hazards. For this, it's a swirl. It comes occasionally from the left side and the right side. Yeah, it's pretty occasion, so occasional. There it is.
Yeah, I think there's another game like.
Cool. So yeah, so that's the hazards for specifically for this level. Yeah, that pretty much that's the only thing special for this level. You just go ahead to the next level. Good. Okay, so this is our final level. It's a volcano. For this level, we also have special hazards. The ones that falling down are gonna deal some damage to you, and the ones are rising will instantly kill you. So try not to stand to the side of the map. And yeah, so that's the special stuff about this level. I just beat the guy, and that's pretty well. And yeah, at the end of the so this is all our levels. When you beat the whole level, so enemies, you will basically see this thing. So you are the new champion for scissor, paper, and rock. Yeah, campaign basically. Yeah.
So, first question is, this question pertains to the player versus player mechanics. Does the camera only follow player one, even in a PvP
Yes, that's something we tried to work around and we just didn't get to it in time. But the stages are sized appropriately where that's never much of an issue.
And the next question for the game is, are the stage hazards blockable? I.e., are they rock type?
Yeah, so the stage hazards actually have different types, so you can, if you know what type they are, you can block them. So if it's the big rock falling from the sky, that one you can block with a paper type move, because paper beats rock. But other ones, like the car, is scissors type. So to beat scissors, you need to use a rock move. So if you block the car, then you'll destroy the car, and you'll be safe.
Okay, well, thank you once again for presenting. Why don't we give a round of applause once again to Spar? You know, I never thought a game of rock, paper, scissors could be so intense.
Who's your main?
Well, I'm a fighter main, obviously.
What? I can't believe I'm talking to a fighter main right now. Gross.
Well, you are my co-host, so we can brawl it out later.
Well, my water lady's gonna kick your fighter main butt.
Well, since you love water lady so much, why don't we move on to our next game? I bet you would enjoy it.
What's that supposed to mean? Is this the next game about the best character ever?
Well, no, but there is a whole lot of water in it. Just that you need to, well, outswim a shark. That's the only catch.
Well, that doesn't sound terrifying at all. Is there any chance I will be feeling submerged in this next game?
Well, you're right on the sand dollar. Our next game is Submerge. Join us in dealing with a very exciting aquatic adventure.
All right, my name is Chris. I'm one of the creators of Submerged. Before I get into the lore behind the game, let me just set the mood. Let's do one thing. Yeah. Is that better? There we go. Can't get any sound out. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. So the lore behind this game is you are a experienced diver that's only heard the myth about this shark named Megabyte. And this shark protects its lair with its life, and every diver that's tried to go down there and kill Megabyte has never come back. So you are going to try to do that. So this game gets inspiration from Flappy Bird mixed with Mario water levels, pretty much. And the goal is to reach the end of the level without hitting spikes, the dangerous flora on the sea floor, and of course, outrunning the gigantic Megabyte. And so it's a very simple game in terms of mechanics. It's just movement based. However, the levels do get harder as you progress. More mines start to show up, mines left behind by previous divers who tried killing the shark. And as you'll see, there are different paths to go about each level. And pretty much the goal of the game and replaying the game is to speedrun and find the most efficient path in each level. So there are 5 water levels. I'm not the best at this game, but each level gets progressively harder. And so the first 5 levels are water levels, in which you are just exploring the cavern of Megabyte, but you want to reach the end. And that's what the 6th level is, which is the boss level. So you'll see in a bit. where Megabyte will have a little bit of a transformation. So let me talk about what we wanted to include with more time and what we probably will include later on, just because we had so much fun making this game. We definitely wanted to add much more interactability in the levels, such as making the shark swim a little bit faster every level, or adding more enemies. Like we wanted to add fish initially to add to the kind of like the Mario underwater level theme. But we obviously didn't have enough time for all of that. However, I feel like the boss level, which we'll get to right after this is the hardest level, by the way, in which there's actually a mechanic that you don't really realize until you stop just kind of zooming through the level, which is you jump higher when you're not moving sideways, and that'll come in handy right here, because as you'll see, you can only fall so slowly and then the shark will catch up. And if you try to just do this, you'll jump too high, too low, and you won't be able to make it in time. So there is a little bit of mechanics there that you have to worry about, and those sound effects of the almost like slurping noises, that's the diver being damaged. Here's the boss fight. So pretty much Megabyte turns into Gigabyte and grows some arms and legs. However, he's much smaller now and can actually be defeated. No diver has made it this far. And pretty much the goal is to use these spikes, or even get him to jump into these spikes, if he so will, to kill Megabyte. So I'll try to do right now. It's a blood-curdling roar. I'll try to kill him now. And then he starts crying. And that's pretty much the game here. Oh no. I don't know what happened there, but that is yeah, pretty much the game. We wanted to add a lot more, however, one of our teammates ended up having something happen during the semester, so we didn't get as much done as we wanted, but we're definitely going to work more on this over the summer. And yeah.
Thank you so much, Submerge. Doesn't look like we have any questions right now, so I guess we'll move on to our final game of the night. Very exciting. But actually, you know, with this game, I didn't think my fear of the ocean could be any more justified.
Oh, don't worry. Most sharks are actually really nice and don't really want to bother humans. Those were just rude sharks.
Yeah, you know, you're right. It's those dolphins that people should worry about, right?
You know, I'll get you, those pesky dolphins.
Yes, but to conclude this game competition, what better ways to close it than one final platformer, but in space?
Oh, I always wanted to be an astronaut. Now I'm a music major. At least I can pretend, right?
I'm sure you can make music in space somehow. Why don't we explore that dream in our next game?
Let's check out Terminal. I'm sure we're going to collect some excellent samples of gameplay.
Here's to our final game of the night, which is Out of This World.
Hello, I'm Tom, and with my group mates Kazi Jamal and Jaswinder Singh, this is our game Terminal. So the backstory to this game is you are an astronaut named Walker, and aliens have just declared that they're going to invade Earth. So your goal is to go and visit a bunch of planets and find one that's habitable for humans. And you're going to do this by collecting scientific samples from each planet. So if we get started up here on level 1, this is a science lab on Earth. You see starting off you have very simple platformer controls. And then these are the samples you're going to have to collect to progress through each level. So coming up on the next floor up here, you'll see the main mechanic of the game, which is the mysterious alien technology called the terminal. So what these terminals can do is they can influence various attributes of the player and their environment. So this one is a velocity terminal, and you can adjust the player's velocity at will. And then, since I've set the velocity higher, I can now cross this gap. Now coming up here, you see you want to progress to the left to get to the end of the level, and there's no way to do that, so let's check out this terminal, which is the size terminal. But before we do that, let's check out this. You can make yourself bigger or smaller, and by making yourself bigger, you can go up here and collect this sample. And then become smaller and fit through this gap. So now it's time to go off and visit a bunch of other planets to try to find the most habitable one. So this is a snow level, snow planet, and coming down here you'll see the main idea of this level is water. So while you're under the water you get increased jump height and you can move around a little bit more freely. But if you go over to this terminal over here, the temperature terminal, you can freeze over the water, and this can let you access different areas of the level. So going over here, we're gonna have to go and pick up these samples. And you can see in the top left, you don't have to collect every sample, but it's encouraged to go and explore everywhere. Because like the main thing of this game is exploring all these unique environments. So yeah, coming up top over here, I'm gonna come across a huge body of water, which we're gonna have to go and freeze over to pass over later in the level. One big thing about this game is the player does have a lot of choice of what to do in the level, and it's really encouraged for them to just try out different combinations of values on the terminals and like explore just every nook and cranny of every stage. So yeah, coming back down here, we can go, and you can see there's tips in the terminal for players that are a little bit stuck on it to better understand the concept. So now that we've frozen over the water, we can go back to that underwater area we were just exploring and cross over top of it. Now you can see up here there's another sample that we can't reach, so we're gonna have to figure out what we're gonna have to do up here. And here's another velocity terminal. We saw one of these in the tutorial stage, and you can use this to cross over here. And then this can, this takes you to the final section, this level up here, where once again there's a sample that's a little bit too high to reach, so you're gonna have to come up here and access this size terminal, which lets the player jump up and reach it easily. Down here, because I've now collected 11 samples, I can go back to the spaceship, and this will bring me to the next level. So stage 3 here is a lava planet. This one will once again make use of the temperature terminal, and another one that we haven't seen yet. So here you can see by changing lava or changing the planet's temperature down, you can harden the lava, and I guess I could show it off. Yeah, if you fall in the lava, you'll instantly die, so you need to harden it up to be able to walk across it. And yeah, one thing with the respawn system is, because we want the game to be more focused about the player exploring, we don't want it to be like frustrating or anything, you can respawn at the last terminal you were accessing. So coming up here, you see like there's a lot of samples, they're really out of the way, and of course I already know all the positions, so I'm completing the game quite quickly, but the game will take a lot longer for a new player. Yeah. So over here, that was the first instance of combat in the game. By pressing J, you can do a melee slash, and this will kill enemies. Or you could use the environment to your advantage here. So you see there's this hardened rock over here from the lava. So if I want to go back over to this terminal and turn the temperature back up, this will kill all of the enemies on top of the lava. And then that gives me access to this. Yeah, and then with the combat aspect of the game, you're going to see one more use of it in this level. So, yeah, so over here you can also see it. Can't quite access this yet. It's a hardened like crystal, so maybe we'll find a solution to that in a second too. So I can cross over here because it's still hardened, and now we got a big enemy, so I have to fight my way through this. I can't dodge here. Here's another one of those crystals from before, and now you can test it out with the terminal right next to it. By making it hot enough, you can melt it and collect what's inside. So coming up top, I'll showcase the final terminal of this level. So up here, invisibility. So you can toggle invisibility on, and now all of these huge enemies up here that you would have to fight through and probably take a lot of damage, you can just sneak right past them. And this can take you back down to your spaceship and get you out of here. So moving on to the next level, this is a desert planet, and the terminal mechanic introduced here is mass. So you can see there's starting over here, you can see this quicksand. So you jump into it, you instantly die, so you need to lower your mass to be able to traverse across it and not sink in. So then falling down here, we see cracked tiles that look very fragile, so if I want to go back up to the start of the level and access this terminal again, I can increase my mass, and then I can smash through those blocks. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, that's like the main mechanics of this level. I'm just gonna. Everything else here is terminals that we've already seen, so I'm going to move on just for time's sake. So this is level 5. This is a gas planet, and you can see there's space in the background and a bunch of floating rocks. So I'll go down here. Oh, like a sample, I can go over here, and now I can't reach the top, so I have to die and respawn, but we'll see how to access that later. So moving along to the right here, there's my terminal. What is this one? Gravity. So this level allows you to directly access the player's gravity, and you can just reach everywhere with huge jumps once you've lowered your player gravity. But you also have to be careful because there's some traps. If I try to go there with low gravity, I'll die. So yeah, this is a no enemies on this level. This is a more like harder platforming skill-based level. And yeah, just the player has to traverse everywhere with the precise movements. Here I'll be able to collect the 9 samples needed to beat this level, and I can head back to my spaceship. I'll go back and grab the one that we weren't able to get at the start of the level. And now I can get out of here and move on to the final stage. So this stage, the objectives of it different. This is a civilized alien planet with we're in a city right now, and the goal here is to unlock this teleporter to meet with the alien leader. So the main mechanic of this level is lasers. So you see, if I try to run through that laser, I die, but I can access this terminal and change my shield color, which lets me cross through the respective laser of that color. This level just tests all of the players' platforming skill and their ability to just find every single switch to unlock the teleporter. So now I'll have to go back and change my shield color to red because there's red lasers down there. One more really hidden switch down here. Remaining, and that's the one I left over here by the teleporter. So now you see the teleporter flips on, and we can meet with the alien leader who will let the humankind come to this planet and live with them. And you've just saved humanity. So yeah, that's Terminal. There's some extra cheat codes in the game. You can press the number keys to freely swap between levels, and press I to use invincibility, and that's about it.
Thank you so much. Now we're on to our final questions of the night. First one, in which case would lowering your velocity benefit you? Would you say?
So yeah, the velocity aspect is more meant for just crossing large gaps, but the player has the option to lower it back down if they feel they've made themselves too fast to accurately control themselves.
Second question. Are there terminals that affect multiple different environmental effects at different number thresholds? Or any effects that you need to adjust different variables for multiple different terminals to trigger?
So I think that's asking more like are there like situations where you need to use two different terminals like in conjunction to access something? And yeah, it was in level 2 in the snow area, like you had to freeze the water over and also make yourself fast to access the top area of the level. And then yeah, there's a couple more situations like that scattered throughout the game.
And last but not least, is there any disadvantage at all to being invisible?
Not particularly. That's just meant as an aspect, like at the end of the level, to be able to rush through all of the enemies that were over there.
Very interesting. Well, thank you so much once again. That was Terminal. Give her another round of applause. Yeah. So now that all the games have been presented, I'm just going to hand the floor to Professor McKenna himself.
Thank you very much. For the judges, a couple of things. I just want to go over the games just so you can recall which ones were presented and you can vote for a winner. Now, the instructions are list the 5 favorite games. I've shared a Google form with you. So you're going to be voting for 5 games. There were 11 presented. Let me just go through them quickly again. Calm the Calamities, that was the puzzle game pushing the blocks. Campus Caverns, that was the dungeon crawler under Stony Brook University with Wolfie. Congressional simulator, right? You're running for Congress, raising money and campaigning and such. Doodle Finn, that was the game where you're drawing in the notebook. Side-scrolling jumping game. Lungo, you have the shield, the balloons, right? You're knocking them and you're jumping on the shield. You have some abilities with the shield. McBendergy versus robots, that was inspired by Minesweeper, and you have all of these robots that you're trying to get to explode on the board. We had Profiler. Alex, is it Profiler or Profile? I apologize if I added an R there. That's the game where you're trying to find... It does have an R, okay. So it's Profiler. So you're trying to find the individual in the crowd. That's the 3D game. Shattered Sword, that was also a side-scroller with the rich backgrounds and the jumping and the flying through the air with the boss fight at the end. We had Spar, which was the multiplayer fighting game. We had Submerged with the shark, right? First we had the game where you're swimming through the caverns, and then you have the fighting the land shark at the end. And then we had Terminal, the one that was just presented. So I'm going to give the judges just a few minutes to vote. I'll tally the votes and we'll present the winner.
Judges are tallying in the meantime. Rocco, I think we could dedicate this time to a very special aquarium that Rocco has made for us. So Rocco, why don't you tell us about this lovely creation of yours?
Sure. So this was a project that I had created kind of to give a little bit of credit to all of the students in the 380 course this semester. One of their first assignments in the class was to create a fish sprite, which kind of introduced all of the students to the idea of sprite sheets and animations. So for this, they each created their own fish with these different, all these different animations for swimming and attacking. And what I did was basically put all of the different fish inside of this tank, and I added these little name tags on top for the different creators of the fish. Each one has, all of the fish have this AI set up where they'll basically randomly idle or try to swim in a different direction or try to attack. So you could see all of the different fish. Each student made their own, and they all have kind of different ideas of how they wanted the animations to look. So you could see all the different fish look very different as they move around. They do their different kinds of animations. If you weren't sure, the fish, when they're moving a lot more quickly, that's when they're doing their attack animations. If they were to run over any other fish during while attacking, that's when they would get killed. And then we have this fish alive counter on the top, so you could always keep track of how many are in the tank at any given time. And I'm not sure, you guys might have noticed the little words. I know they're really tiny on the bottom, but there's some extra little commands I added into the game just for just to kind of keep things interesting. Also, just in case there was like no fish in the tank at any point for whatever reason. So I'll go through these so I could show you. So the first one is just F for fish, which is just like spawns in one random fish in the tank. So you can see if I use that a couple times. And then K is for kill. So K is just gonna pick one random fish and it's just gonna kill it on the spot. So you might see some of them start fading away. And I was pretty happy with these two commands, but I wanted to add like a little bit more to it. So you could see there's two extra options, S for swarm and M is for massacre. So if you press S, you're gonna get about like 50 fish or so that are gonna all spawn in.
up to about 100 is the limit. And Massacre is going to do the opposite. That's going to kill about like 50 or so of the fish at random. So it's just going to pick a whole bunch of them and just kill them. So, but you could see when there's a ton of fish in the tank, you could see kind of that randomness part of the AI taking work. You could see after only a couple of seconds, the tank automatically will go from about 100 fish all the way down to only like 20 something fish within a couple of seconds. So again, that's just the part of the randomness with the AI for the fish. But this was a really cool project to work on. It was really cool getting to see all of the different sprites that all of the students made, and incorporating as many of them as I could into the game. Some technical challenges. It was a little tricky getting all of the sprites into the game. Also some consistency issues with like naming animations and stuff like that. So I had to kind of go through and make sure everything was named properly so all the animations would work as you'd expect. One thing that I wish I was able to add in or work more properly was was dying animations. A lot of the fish had them, but unfortunately a good amount of them also didn't have dying animations. So because of that, I opted for a more generic death for them. So you might notice if you see any of them get run over, they kind of just like fade away into nothing. But I thought maybe it would be cool if I could eventually change it so that they use the dying animations that the students themselves actually created. But one thing that wasn't really demoed yet was also you can scroll in on different parts of the tank, so you can get a closer look at some of the fish. So you can see these guys. If you see one guy in particular, you can go in and scroll in on him. The name tags are a little bit funny with that, but so you can see this guy right here. I wanted you to be able to really get a close look at each of the different fish, so you can really appreciate the work that went into creating these different sprites and the going into these different animations and stuff. But yeah, this was a fun project. I definitely liked looking at all of the sprites that you guys made. Definitely lots of great ones. Some of the animations are a little bit messed up on some of them. Some of them are a little bit too fast, possibly. But this was definitely a cool project, and I hope that each of the students who made fish were able to, at some point, be able to see their name on the screen. Like I said, I tried to get as many of them in as I could. Some of them, there were some little issues with them. I couldn't get it in. But yeah, lots and lots of fish in here for you guys. So hopefully you should see your name in there somewhere.
I actually have a question for you.
Sure.
Just out of curiosity, what made you decide on the whole aquarium theme in the first place?
It was actually a suggestion from Professor McKenna. He wanted something that, basically something for the students so that I could show off their work that they had done for that project. Part of that project was, for one, making these fish sprites, and another part was working on sprites for another homework assignment that they had. So at that point, nobody really knew what the fish were for. They were kind of just like doing it for the homework. But the goal the whole time really was to make this project so that at the end of the semester they could see just one application of one of their sprites. Right? You could take these sprites and you could do all sorts of stuff with them.
I see. This is a pretty impressive project, I'd say. Charlotte, do you have any thoughts about this whole thing?
I think it's pretty cool. I also have a question.
Sure.
I don't know if you're going to know the answer, but you probably watched this aquarium for a while. Are there any specific fish that last longer than others? Just, I know it's all chance, but are there some fish that you see more often than others?
I mean, I might be a little bit biased, but I like to think that my fish tend to live the longest. But one thing that's a little bit weird is sometimes, like, when you'll kill fish, I think it wants to, like, spawn them in a particular order. So if there's, like, no fish alive, and then after a certain amount of time, usually I'll be the first fish that'll come back to life, or the first two fish that'll come back to life with different colors.
but no, not really, not in particular. It's very, very random, so nothing very deterministic about it at all, I would say.
Cool. I think maybe the results. I don't know. I'm not quite sure yet.
Almost.
Keep waiting on it. Oh, we have the results. Oh, how great. Thank you guys so much for being here and your patience.
First, I want to thank, again, the Stony Brook game developers for all the hard work, for my TA, Rocco, for helping with the tech setup. But we have all of these great students who've helped in so many ways. I want to make sure to thank Zach Grandison. He's not here, but he worked on the game engine this semester, so he continued the work that Joe Weaver had done last year. And, really helped make the games possible. And I want to bring in last year's winner, right? The tradition is to hand off then to the winning team this year. In third place, there was a tie for third place. Calm the Calamities and Shattered Sword. Second place, the game you just saw, Terminal. And the 2022 winner is Doodle Finn. Why don't you come on up? Thank you very much, everybody, for coming. As usual, I'm amazed by the work that these students do. I mean, the amount of effort that they put into this game that they make, and the amount of time, the amount of time it must have taken for these games for all of you is just remarkable. And I look forward again next year to seeing you, and next year, if you're still on campus and haven't graduated yet, of course you can enter a game again. So, see you next year, everybody. Thank you very much.
Come over here too. Yeah, might as well, right?
All the finalists up on stage, please. Oh, and SBU 102 students, see, is right here. Finalists up on stage, want to get a photograph with everybody in the aquarium. Yeah, that's good.